Saying you don't mind about privacy rights because you've got nothing to hide is the same as saying you don't care about freedom of speech because you've got nothing to say. Unquote. That's Edward Snowden. Someone else who, in a way, was, well, definitely, specifically, was persecuted for, making some decisions that were founded in pretty good reason and were actually quite honorable, in my opinion, and in the opinion of many of the people, despite what the institutions and the corporations and the figureheads and the politicians and the news reporters, whatever they say. All right, he's like a criminal and he was in treachery, treason. He was persecuted for valuing privacy of the people and also understanding that it's important that people have a certain awareness of what the powers that be decide is in our best interest, and the things that are going on that really does affect us. It really does involve us. However, we're not quite involved in the discussion, and we're not even aware of these things happening. All right, like such as the NSA and all that. So, or RSA, NSA. So yeah, basically, my Facebook was my previous account, Phoenix Rising. Okay, was just I'm hoping it's been temporarily disabled, and I've been locked out because I met this vindictive person online. I got chatting with her and I saw her. Check this. I saw her violating someone's privacy online. I saw her defaming someone's character in a really immature way, and she told me she was schizophrenic, and she went through this laundry list of bad boyfriends and that the whole victim thing. But you start smelling something fishy, and you realize they're actually the abuser and the perpetrator. So when I saw this post, I just said, ironic, hypocrite, because this person, the same person, had been pulling everyone up, criticizing everyone else, and acting righteous for all these little things people are saying, and then all of a sudden she's doing this thing online, like really immaturely. So I just said ironic, hypocrite, and then just unfriended her. She abused me. I didn't really add to it because I'm like, I don't really know you, I'm not invested, and I blocked her. The same day, I get a notification from Facebook telling me that my Facebook, has been reported to be using a false name. And it says I have a week to rectify. I refuse to rectify, which according to them means to take my whole birth name, the letters that make the name on my birth certificate, my maritime stock number, my stock name, all right, in capitals. So me as property of the state. They wanted me to use that name, which isn't the name I've been going by. All right, I stopped using that name when I was 12 years old. I'm now 31 years old. All right, so for 12 years I had that name. Okay, and now for 19 years I've been known as Phoenix. Okay, and you can watch my videos from the dawn of time. All right, from when I started uploading more than 10 years ago, and all of my videos, half of the time when I do introduce myself, I introduce myself as Phoenix, and that's literally how you will hear it go down every bloody time. Hey, you're watching Walking and Talking Live with Phoenix. Because that's how people know me. So I got this notification because obviously this person that just was really vindictive, she reported me just to cause inconvenience, and she has. So you can feel like bloody good about yourself, even though you've really cemented the fact that you're a terrible person and you are a red flag with legs. I'm telling you. Because she even went on Tinder. I never go on Tinder, but when I get a message from someone, it alerts me. So I was like, oh, hello. And then I realized it was her. I was like, wow, this chick really does fixate, and she's really vindictive. And I don't even know this person. But anyway, I have to deal with this now. And so I went on. I read what Facebook had to say, and they pretty much said, you need to, use the name that everybody that you talk to and everyone who knows you by, so that people can find you. Okay, so the reason they gave is to do with accessibility. Okay, because people want to find me and they're used to calling me this, I should use that because it will make it easier for those people who know me to find me. That makes sense. It's all about accessibility. Okay, well, if I want to choose to be accessible to certain people who know me by this name, I suppose I'll use that name. So, because those people know me by that name, such as, like, I don't know, everybody besides my parents and family, like everyone since I was 12 years old knows me as Phoenix. No one else knows me by my birth name for bloody good reason. Very few people know for bloody good reason. And it's about liability. It is about safety. It is about protection. And I'm sure I'm not the only one. I'm sure I'm not the only person who's had their account reported or whatever. They've been coerced or at least been told. And that's the thing. Facebook don't allow you to talk to them. It's so hard to figure out if it's even possible to have a discussion with someone. And I found out online the only way you can talk to them about a problem, actual like a person to another human being, is if you're talking about ads, because then it's business, then it's about generating income for them, and they will listen and they will oblige. Otherwise, unless I have a Google Ads account and I need to have my Facebook account in order to do that, to tackle issues about that account, they can't really help. So it's really, I guess their mentality is, we don't provide a service. You're not paying for it. You're not customers. Therefore, we don't need a customer service hotline. Because you're not customers, you're not paying. Okay? I guess that's their mentality. It's kind of like, we're offering the service. Play ball or leave. That's right. Turn this into a stalk book by using your birth name, even if that isn't the name. Even if you change your name. Because, I don't know, you've got an ex-partner or ex-husband who will track you down and once again try to kidnap the kids off you or try to murder you. Maybe you got people after you and there is a very bloody good reason why you've changed your name, and maybe there's even a very bloody good reason why you have chosen to not change your name legally on paper in the database, because even that could be accessible. What if, this isn't paranoia, this is reality, what if the people that you fear finding you have connections? Because the people that fill the roles in these officers that have access to certain information, private information about you and everyone else, they are still human beings. Human beings, they're not just like, no, I'm a full-fledged worker, I just follow protocol. They will still have friends. People can be connected in that sense. Someone might know someone who has access, and who's to say that people in positions of power and authority and control and regulation are never corrupt? It wasn't that long ago that we had a politician sniffing the seat of a woman, and a whole bunch of, that's just nothing, that's just the tip of the iceberg, that's just the tip. There's a whole bunch of corruption. It comes in all forms of human. It doesn't matter what role, it doesn't matter what office they're in, what job, how much responsibility they have, and such a high prestige position, and the power that comes with that accountability doesn't mean they're actually going to stand up to that level of virtue that you need with that power to not abuse the power. So people might have a good reason for opting to not, because it's their choice. We are sovereign. We are free. Alright? We are free to choose whether we want to enter ourselves voluntarily into harm's path or to not enter ourselves into harm's path. And for some people, legally changing the name for something is as good as just keeping the same name, because they can still be tracked down in some cases by these people that they are really trying to keep private from, hidden from, and anonymous with. Okay? So saying just use your birth name or change your legal name, neither of them really fly. People have legitimate reasons, and people, they aren't what they are on paper. I'm not a Caucasian white male. I am a human being. But you won't see the word human being written on my birth certificate. Does that mean you can't identify me as a human being? That I am a white Caucasian male whose name is... How, when I got this letter from Facebook, this notification, it says, use the name that people know you by. This is the name that people know me by. My name is Phoenix. Anyone that knows me, please give a thumbs up, give a love, write a comment, tell me my name. Very few people know my actual name. Let's put it to the test. But then if somebody says it, then everyone else can just say they know it too, to be whatever, have fun. You know what I mean? But just say, I know, if you know. And I guarantee it won't be that many people. A vast majority of people know me as Phoenix. Okay? And this is the problem. This is the problem I have. And it is mostly about the bigger principle here. It's about the issue of sovereignty and freedom and our right to decide what is in our best interest, because we have more of a unique and intimate understanding of our circumstances, the situation we're involved in, and sometimes we might actually have some bloody good reasons for making our choices. Alright? And it isn't for someone to say, well, use the name that people call you, but at the same time, in the very next sentence, use the name that's on your ID. Use the name that's on your ID. So you're already assuming that everyone, hands down, no brainer, bro. Everyone uses their birth name or the name they've changed legally, the name that's on their ID. Everyone uses that openly because no one in the history of fucking human interaction and any record keeping, it can never be found. It's never been discovered that people have ever had a reason to want to remain anonymous. It's never been found that people have a reason to want to be not so findable by everyone. And that's pretty much what they're saying. It's a bunch of BS when they say that choose the name people know you by so that they can find you. Because this isn't an issue of accessibility, all right? Because if there really is about choosing a name that presumably the people that I want to find me, okay? Not the ones I don't want to find me, not everyone. Presumably, if what they're saying is the people you want to find you, the name they know you by, use that name, as long as it's respectful and all that and reasonable, then it should be fine. I use Phoenix. That's my bloody name. But obviously these guys have no conception. Whoever wrote the legislation, Facebook, the protocol, how it operates, that some people might have a reason for using and I don't know if you've heard this term, it's a little bit ancient, nickname, or an actual other name. People call me by my birth name, alright? I don't respond. They don't even call me by it. But I've heard it sometimes in public, and I don't respond. Alright, it doesn't really catch my attention, but I hear it, I'm like, oh, a little bit, but I don't respond. It's not my name. I don't identify with my birth name as being my name. Whatever's on my card, it's not my name. And I haven't got my name, Phoenix, on my card for my own protection. Because the people that I have a history with, and not a life that I lived, but I bumped into some wrong people. I ran up in a bad situation. I helped put some people behind bars, essentially, and I'm on their blacklist. Yeah, you might not know what that means, but it means they will kill you when they find you. I don't want to be so accessible by all the people. I want to do what Facebook was pretending when they messaged me and they said, the people that you presumably know, the people, the name they know you by, use that name so that they can find you. If that is true, so that they can find you, then they are pretty much saying, find the people that you want to find you and use the name they know you by, which is what I'm doing. Okay? And to use anything else would be at a detriment of me. Okay? And I refuse to do that as a sovereign being. I have the right to not voluntarily, without reason or cause, enter myself into a dangerous situation, and I don't deserve to have my account completely stopped. Recently, I've always been a proliferator of information, a bit of an educator, and I help to empower people, actually, and provide counsel. Hence the name Phoenix Rising, because you probably could have guessed, I don't want to use my last name. Because, why just assume? The thing asks you for your first and last name. And it says use the one that people know you by. So what, everyone goes around calling me by my whole name. Hey, Caucasian white male with his whole name. No. But you have to give your last name and the one that's on your card. I don't want to. Why do people need to know my last name? People don't call me by my last name. Doctors call me by my last name. My friends do not. So why on one hand are you pretending? If you're going to write down your protocol and legislation and inform people with these notices, at least do it fucking correctly. Excuse the French. Do it correctly. Be precise. Use reason, because you're contradicting yourself, Facebook legislation writers, whoever ordained this stuff to fly and stick. You're contradicting yourself. It says use your last name, your first name, use what's on your card, but use what people know you by so that they can find you, presumably the ones I want to be found, because now either you're suggesting that use the name that the people I want to find me know me by, or you're pretty much suggesting you should be accessible by everyone. Why not? To every single person on the planet that uses Facebook. You should be accessible by everyone. How could that be an issue? Well, I guarantee there's a lot of people out there who could tell you very well how that could be an issue and why they don't want to expose their last name and how their friends don't refer to them by their last name or what's on the birth certificate. or what's on their new ID card. I mean, I didn't use any name like Chipotle Supreme or Suzuki Fab Tang. I used the name Phoenix Rising because that is in essence me. Mr. Rising is what I do. I'm rising and I'm here also sending the message, and I believe spiritually, so this is kind of part of my religion, I suppose, my spirituality, my belief in connection with God, that we are all connected, that we all share that Christ consciousness, that same light, okay, and we are all, as a humanity, like a phoenix rising. So yeah, I am Phoenix. I am an embodiment of something more than what is on my stock exchange birth certificate. I'm not the product of the Commonwealth. I'm a sovereign being. My name is Phoenix. That's the name everyone I know who I want to be found by knows me by. Now, I'm not going to use my last name, but I got to use something. So I use Phoenix Rising, because how could Rising offend? And you know how many people I find on Facebook with the name Phoenix Rising? You know how many different names I find? Totally fine. Totally fine. And people just, one person makes a report out of vindictiveness and Facebook just jumps on it and immediately seizes Facebook from that person, disables it, and then forces and coerces them into a dangerous situation, or, oh, tough luck. It's not a service, so we're not obligated. Tough luck, you've lost access to everything. You've lost access to all your contacts on there, your private information on there, anything you've saved. And I write a lot, I film a lot, I proliferate a lot of information, and I have done over the years. And there is a lot I have saved in terms of memos, works in progress and complete pieces, memorabilia, references, which I now have no access to. And there was a week's warning to change my name, I suppose. But who do I talk to when I want to say, well, I can't, and I refuse to endanger myself so that I can use this program? Is that really the prerequisite? That only people that don't have any abusive exes or anyone that they're trying to hide from, and they only want to be accessible by a select few, maybe even just family? What if it's a child? What, you got to use your whole name as a child? What if you don't want to have that kind of exposure and expose yourself and all those details, so someone could literally use that information and track you down? What then? What then? So I really think it's a huge violation of privacy. I think I know it's a huge oversight of people's fundamental right to, yes, play by the rules, be respectful, don't choose anything immature or offensive, okay? It's got to have some sense to it. But if somebody just has to make a vindictive, complaint and report, and then people just seize it, and it's not even offensive, and there are so many other people out there with different names and aliases on their Facebook that just get away, you know what I mean? Like, isn't there any kind of, don't people actually use their eyes and look around? Apply the rule to everyone, man. And then we can all kick up a stink together and force you idiots to change this. I'm not alone in this. And I want to sign a petition, actually, to encourage less coercion, obliging to, expose all your data, turn this into Stalkbook, give us your whole name, give us an amount of times I spent making this new account so I can send this video out here. Was I asked to set up more information in my profile? It kept prompting me. I said, no thanks, not right now. 5 minutes later, more information. It just wants me to expose. Do you want me to take a magnifying glass and stick it up my kahuna? Do you want to see the color of my inner recesses? Do you want to know what I fucking smell like? Do you want to count how many hairs are on my body? Do I need to list this information? Where's the limit? Where do we start to question the value of our privacy and our rights as sovereign beings to decide for us, as long as we are being respectful and mature and not offensive? And I don't know how Phoenix Rising can be offensive. As somebody who helps people, with counseling, self-improvement, empowerment, and Phoenix Rising embodies not just me, not just my spiritual belief that we are all the same consciousness and that same entity, and we are all like a phoenix, resurrecting, dying, resurrecting, rising. Because I want to see that. I want to see humanity rising. That is me as a symbol. That is me as a walking message, as a walking entity. That's more than what you expect me to be when you ask me to send you what's on my bloody plastic bank card and ID. That's not me. No one knows me as that. And you are only forcing me to use a name that only the few people who I do not want to be able to track me down would be of benefit to. They're not the people I want to find me. I want to use the name that people know me by, the ones I want to find me, the way you suggested it. Unless you're saying that everyone should be able to find me. And that in there, right there, is the problem. Don't you agree, people? Don't you agree we have the right to anonymity, a certain level of anonymity, but within reasons? Or does it have to be like a black and white totalitarian, very much like, well, take it or leave it? Join the club where, like, if you don't, it's kind of hard because a lot of the world is on Facebook. You're kind of, left out and ostracized and isolated from something that has become, and even the dude who made this shit has admitted it's become a problem, how much people have replaced actual socializing with Facebook socializing, social media socializing, okay? So it's pretty much saying, all right, join the world of Stalkbook, reveal all the information, add more information to your profile, give us your last name, because that, we're just presuming everyone knows you by, and it's totally fine. Why would you have any reason to want to keep that secret for you or your child? I'm sure there's no reason whatsoever. We'll just presume it's safer to give all that information. Why? It's bad enough we already got algorithms informing us that we're homosexual, or informing us of what we want to buy next before we even realize it ourselves, that we're already being analyzed like that. And now we got to, what next? We're just going to have a chip? Do we have to log on with our chip on our arm to prove our identity? To have it like a GPS tracker, and we have to let people know where we are at all times, and then people can just they can already do that. They can already just track you down. There's already stuff that lets you do that quite easily. It shouldn't be so easy. There are so many problems. So many articles coming out and reports about the abuse online. And a lot of it is tied to a very illogical set of protocols, just a lack of common sense. Just a terrible oversight and an awful lack of common sense. And I am hoping, that I don't have to use my name that no one really knows me by, except those I'm trying to not have find me. I don't want to use my last name. I don't see why rising is a problem. I do tarot readings, and I do lots of talking online, helping people. Part of my business and part of what I do for my purpose. A lot of people know me as Phoenix. And Phoenix Rising is the reference that they pass on through word of mouth. If I change that, you're ruining business for me. You're ruining me in what I am, which isn't a plastic card or name on a piece of paper. It's what people know me as. It's about the human connections and the relations and how we choose to relate to each other. Not as Caucasian white male name that's on the certificate or card, but as the names that we take upon ourselves to represent ourselves. And people do have these names, consistent names, okay? And it should be respected, and it should be acceptable if it's not offensive. And you tell me how Phoenix Rising is offensive. So if you're watching this, I'd really like, just to show your support, add to this. If anyone finds a way to contact Fakebook, if you can let me know, that'd be a miracle. That'd be brilliant. And if you can figure out a way to contact them, if you would like to send them a message on my behalf and say, hey, I was one of these people that was following this account, and it was really helpful, and this guy would talk to me, he'd listen to me, he'd help me with things, and now you've deprived not only him, but all of us, hundreds and hundreds of people, the opportunity and the right to access our friend who we know by this name. We can no longer access him. The issue of accessibility has been thanks to you, Facebook. Because you're forcing me to do something that's simply not in my best interest. And I have no idea how it's in your best interest unless you guys are actually secretly the NSA. I can't tell the difference anymore the way things are right now. And I'm a bit disappointed. I've got a lot of information on my site. And I'm actually revolted. It's quite revolting. The assumption that it's just fine. Just give you a name. Pretty simplistic thinking. So I'm gonna be starting up. If there's already a petition, I'm jumping on that, and I'm starting up some more, and I'm gonna be campaigning. Unless you bring back my site within 3 days. 3 days. I'm not waiting long. I've got people. And you know what the worst part is? My friend I was in the middle of talking to, I just vanished. And it appeared to her as if I blocked her. Because it gives you that same neutral screen Facebook user. You can't write to this person no more. I got over 700-800 people on my account, and I talk to a lot of them like every few days, and a lot of them every day. Now I'm receiving about 100, like just in the last week or two, things have picked up, and I've just been starting connecting, counseling online, talking to a lot of people daily. You can see this Facebook. If you check my messages, I give you permission in the sense to check that. All right, there's people who have anxiety, depression, who I've reached out to and I've talked with and asked them to open up to me. And now it's not just me that you've inconvened, but now you've sent a wrong message to these people who might be emotionally unstable, insecure, vulnerable, who had somebody speak to them and give them a glimpse of hope and true, sincere compassion and someone there in their corner. And that's what I told them. I'm there in their corner. I'm always here if you want to talk. And I reached out to at least 150, 200 people solidly, and I've been talking with them. And now they're all going to think that I blocked them, because it's showing them the exact same thing that happens when you're blocked by someone. Can you imagine how that can affect a human being who is reaching out for help, and you take their hand and say, I'm in your corner, and then you seemingly block them, and they're all alone already? That's on you, Facebook. I don't know who the fuck you're protecting, but it's not the people that you're offering your service to. So do the right thing. Sometimes isn't just based purely on the ridiculous, illogically founded protocol that you just automatically go by. Because you're actually doing a lot of damage. I feel really bad for all these people. I've got absolutely no way of communicating with them. I haven't memorized all of them, these new people I've talked to and old. And the inconvenience of chasing them up to let them know what's happened. Pretty messed up. So thanks, Facebook. You guys are great. Please bring back my account. If you're watching this, you find a way to, talk with these guys. Please bring back the account of Phoenix Rising, because I mean no harm. I'm a bloody good person, and I offer a lot of bloody good in the world, but I have my rights for not wanting to expose my last name on my card, for not having changed it legally, and I feel that our right to some level of anonymity is entitled. As sovereign beings, you shouldn't be forced to endanger themselves or be isolated from the Facebook world entirely. I think that's a ridiculous ultimatum to put on anyone. So I appreciate your support, guys. I love, what Facebook allows people to do, but sometimes it's just plain ridiculous, and there is a point, and I will, if this doesn't get fixed soon. It's damaging, actually. So I'm going to do a petition and actually see if there's any grounds for anything, any kind of compensation, because it actually is. If I've lost my stuff, that's traumatic. Fuck, there's going to be compensation. All right, just as in terms of it being an act of abuse, an unwarranted act that has caused grievance, that has caused interruptions financially, and actually a lot of pain and confusion to a lot of the people that rely on me, that I've just been reaching out to and have for a while, who rely on me, and I've just vanished. There's a lot of damage that could potentially cause to their psyches and their emotional well-being and their sense of security and trust in people. So please get onto it, Facebook. If you find this message, please get onto it. Phoenix Rising, this face. And people know my face, and people know me as Phoenix. Other than that, I and everyone else have the right to be anonymous. To some degree.